Greetings, folks. Welcome to another Train Sim Classic video. We are back looking at another product of Diesel Workshop they recently released. Continuing on with, which I'm assuming is only a part of their Century Series line, the C424, but this time in the case of the Burlington Northern and SP&S. This just released a few days ago. I'm just now getting around to looking at it. It, of course, if you change the price here, it goes down to about 14 bucks, and you're going to get the SP&S and then the Burlington Northern models, both within that price. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'll link this down below. So we have got the two units here in front of us, and as per Diesel Workshop C424 model, it still looks very, very good. So again, the BN and SP&S C424, $14. The Spokane Portland and Seattle is going to be the number range 300 to 306, which is 7 units, obviously. And then Burlington Northern is going to be 4240 to 4246. Both 7 units, and we'll get to why here. So these were built in 1964, and the Spokane, Portland, and Seattle Railway received their new C424s as 300 through 306. Of course, the SP&S then became, later down the road, a part of the Burlington Northern Railroad, and so BN inherited those very same units and then renumbered them, of course, 4240 to 4246. So they're almost one and the same. That's why the number range is what it is. It's what Burlington Northern had, and it's where they came from. So it's nice little quaint package. Now, being that this is the, gosh, third, fourth, fifth C424 release from Diesel Workshop, we'll still go over briefly what it is, just in case for those that may not know. So the Alco C424, C stood for Century Series, was a 4-axle diesel electric road unit rated at about 2,400 horsepower. So C Century, 4-axle, the 2-4, 2,400. So that's where you get the name. They built almost 200 units, which replaced the RS-27. These were built between 1963 and 1967. They, of course, had the tried and tested 16-cylinder 251B prime mover with optional dynamic brakes and, of course, AAR Type B trucks. And a little bit about the railroads from whence they came. The Spokane, Portland, and Seattle Railway was a northwestern railroad, formally began operations in about 1905. And from the Great Northern and Northern Pacific Railroad, they kind of combined powers and aided in building a new line or a new road along the northern side of the Columbia River. The SP&S was headquartered in Portland, Oregon, with almost 1,000 miles of trackage, and they lasted from about 1905 to 1970, of course, when they were absorbed into Burlington Northern. And likely the BN, or the Bean, Burlington Northern, Big Green, Jolly Green Giants, need little to no introduction, but we'll go over it anyway. So it began its reign of terror from 1970 to about 1995 due to the merger of 4 major carriers and more after the initial fact. So Burlington Northern was initially headquartered in St. Paul, Minnesota. Then it was settled in Seattle, Washington, and then the end of its life, it was in Fort Worth, Tejas. The road operated in the Pacific Northwest, of course, the Midwest, and the Central U.S. as well. Now, it, of course, was created from the Great Northern, Northern Pacific, SP&S, which is the unit on the left. That's where they got these units from, and the CB&Q in 1970. And then absorbing more, such as Frisco, and is there one other line? I can't remember at present. But then, of course, the BN eventually became BNSF. So the king is dead, long live the king kind of thing. We'll start, of course, with the SP&S unit, which this one is numbered 300, so that, of course, is correct. So I'm pretty sure their colors were, like, I think they were called Pullman green and yellow. Now, I'm not 110% sure that that was applied to this unit. Maybe some of the older stuff, because that very much looks almost black, if not black. It could be my colors, since I upgraded my graphics card. I've been having a time with the coloring in games being really off all of a sudden. Kind of has like a bluish or purplish hue that I'm trying to get around here. But anyway, this is the SP&S unit. Of course, you're going to get 7 of these numbered, what was it, 300 through 306, obviously, because that would be 7. Sean, you idiot. And yeah, they look good. The model still looks very, very nice. You know, I don't think it can get worse. If anything, it can only increase and start to look better. Just a really good looking model, which is where it all starts from, honestly. The metal looks very nice. It does indeed look like metal. You can see some edge wear, which looks very nice as well. It's not crazy and over the top, you know, bits of weathering here and there. The trucks look really, really nice. One of my favorite part about these units. Of course, they've got the GE bits because they were GE traction motors naturally. The fonts look pretty good, pretty on point, as do the numbers. SP&S logo. It used to be, I think it used to be spelled out, and they kind of condensed it, and it was just the letters there, or acronym, if you will. Spokane and Portlandia in Seattle on the side, which look very nice as well. They look like they're placed correct on the unit themselves. This unit, so, you know, I've gone over it in past videos. I'll try and link up to the top right where I did a comparison of a lot of Diesel Workshops C424s, because when Rhodes received them, you know, they generally had their own kind of deal in what they did with a lot of the units. So, you know, a lot of differentiation occurs within these units. One of the things is the plow or the pilot, of course. Not all of them look like that. Some of them have that long foot plate that runs along, almost like a giant 2x4 instead of the diamond or the point there. Of course, this one has the barrel type or curved fuel tank, and not the big thick ones. I think the kind of squarish ones were more fuel. They were built to hold more fuel for the unit itself. So these have the rounded one, or tub. Man, that air tank looks good too. Some nice weathering all along this unit. You know, it's not over the top, but it's like, you know, just right, just right. A lot of other differences as well, such as lighting. Lighting changes. Wow, look at those clouds. It's like the mothership just descended through the atmosphere. A lot of the lighting changes between the units, as well as the marker lights. The number boards can change. Of course, your horns and bells. Now, this one has the beacon. I know Burlington Northern had the beacon because there was a thing in some states, I think predominantly Washington, where it was a federal mandated deal. You know, and this was pre-ditch light era, where they had to have beacons, and so they started putting them on. I don't remember seeing any photos of these having beacons. I may be totally off my rocker here, but yeah. So those will change between models as well, as will the radio or aerials. Those are going to change between models. These, of course, have the McDonald's style drive-through windows because it do be snow a lot up in the P&W. Of course, we have got largely, except for the back here. So some of these have the kind of devil's fork or horns on the back. These are just kind of the notched rear end here. And then the markers on these are inset into the back side. I think that is I think that is totally unique to this unit here, or this DLC they released. I don't recall seeing rear markers like that on any of the other ones. I could be off my rocker again or out of my tree. I figure these would have had dynamics, you know, because of where they were. Yeah, I guess not. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I figured I mean, it's pretty darn hilly out there and mountainous. So yeah, that is the SP&S variant. It does look good. It's a unique locomotive. I like the black trim along the kind of bottom of the middle windows here. It almost looks like it's almost like it's got a superhero mask on or something like that. Batman the locomotive. It just had a unique look as far as the paint and the line around the side. So yeah, we'll hop in the cab in a minute and see if there's any differences, but first let's go and look at the Burlington Northern. Oh, let's back up there. So the horn, let's back it up. So the horn, this is very stout and thick, so I would be led to believe it's a Nathan, especially due to the little bits on the back there. That's kind of how I figure them out with my, you know, depth or lack of depth of horn knowledge. I'm pretty sure that's an M3. I believe that's what they had. And then the BN unit, of course, we all know BN was preferential to their Leslies, and Leslies are typically longer and thinner, and they have that more of a squeal, which, by the way, both of these are damn good looking models. These look very, very nice. And the Leslies on the back of this plate here have the 6 thingamabobs, whereas that Nathan just had the kind of like the large dash going across there. And then these plates on the side, which would typically have a name in there, which they don't. I'm guessing for licensing issues or something. Not sure. So they do have different horns, which is nice. They would have changed it, you know, being like their Leslies. But here's the BN unit. Cascade Green. This is just one of those roads that any kind of North American rail fan can never forget. Like, you instantly know what it is. It's definitely top tier. Of course, it's got the stripes on the nose, and they do look pretty darn good as well. It's got some nice edging along the top too, so it's not just, you know, a white stripe and then just cuts off into green. So it looks fairly decent. Of course, the logo looks very nice and apropos, as does the lettering. Very sharp lettering there on the BN. And then, of course, the side when they threw the big numbers. I like when they did the big number deal back there. It was pretty cool. Remind me of like a Navy ship or, you know, something like that, or like a military aircraft with the big numbers or identifiers on them. This one's pretty much going to be the same. Still going to have the round tanks. Like I said, they did come from SP&S, so, you know, they wouldn't have changed too much, I would imagine. These still have those funky markers back here as well. And yeah, that's the BN unit. Looks good. Looks good. I like the weathering on the nose and around the steps as well. Some good looking units, I will say. Diesel Workshop has definitely blessed us old diesel heads, you know, and I'm all about it. The good thing with this pack, is, you know, these can be ran pretty much right out of the gate on a lot of routes right off the Steam store, and if not off the Steam store, off the Steam Workshop, they would definitely fit in. Maybe not so much, obviously, the SP&S, but when, you know, BN got a hold of them and say they didn't quite paint them yet type of thing, you could easily use an SP&S. So there's a lot of routes or a lot of maps that these could be used on, whereas the previous C424s, I wouldn't say that so much. So that's kind of what this pack has got going for it. Alrighty, we are in the SP&S unit. It's like it is complete with the Motorola radio, which is nice. It might have some chatter. couple of the recent ones did. It's going to have pretty much all the bells and whistles, pun intended, that a lot of these did. I think the inside is pretty much not changed much at all. But, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty darn good in the realm of all the North American DLC. There's our radio. Very nice. All right, we'll go ahead and try the horn out here. That is an M3, right? Because later on, Nathan, you know, they're, gosh, what are they called? The trumpets weren't that stout like that. That sounds pretty damn good, though. That's a nice sound. We'll, of course, back out and try the distance. Yes, 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 yes. Very nice. Oh, daddy likey. Let's back up some more here. Oh, yeah. It's got that little bit of muffled, extreme distance sound. So that sounds very nice. We'll, of course, try the bell out. Probably not going to be too much craziness there. Going to be the same, largely. Yeah. It was a good bell to begin with. It looks like they've put their stamp back on there. I think in the last unit it was missing, which was kind of odd. But, you know, I get that they want to show off that it's their work. That's fine. They did a hell of a job on these, but they used to be just bam, right on the side, and it may have taken away a little bit from prototypicality. So, you know, I get why they may have changed it. So it's kind of, you know, it's in a little hidden spot, but it's still there in case some dingus wants to try something, you know, and act like it's their unit. So I totally get that. Of course, the bell is back here. That's why I was down here. You can still hear it a pretty good distance. So yeah, that is that. They both have beacons, so we'll try that out when we do the run in a minute. I got another lash up down the road that we'll hop in and actually do some pulling with. We'll hop in the BN unit. Yeah, this is the same as well. Same radio. It's gonna have pretty much everything same. I do like that wood floor though, man. These guys, they came out of the gate swinging with that RS3, and then they've only gone up from there. You know, that's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. All right, let's try this one out. That sounds okay on the inside. It's kind of got this, geez, I'm trying to think of sound engineering terms. It's got this, it's not like a crackly, but it almost sounds like it's, you know, like a paper type of thing. When, you know, when a, say like a speaker, say you got like an old car with a busted speaker, you know, and the sound kind of comes to that busted speaker, and it's almost crackly, papery sounding. I'm hearing a hint of that. We'll go outside. Now that son of a gun's pretty fire on the outside. It has definitely got that Leslie squeal to it. From space. Yeah, so that's a nice sounding horn exterior. The interior wise could be cleaned up a little bit, but it sounds pretty nice. I mean, if you're chugging along and a couple of notches, you're probably not going to really hear that anyway. Plus, I use the earbuds and I shove them all the way so they're touching my brain in my ear holes. So it you know, it might not always be audible. I just noticed little things like that, sadly. But overall, good stuff. Let's go ahead and get in one. We'll run down the road a little bit and see if anything's changed. All right, meow, we've got us a spicy little lash up here with 2 BN units and BN paint and 1 in the SP&S. And we are upgrade, so it's going to take a little power to get this thing moving. But we'll go over the manual, because it does come with a manual telling you all the key bindings and all that good stuff. So of course, headlights is pretty much always H. They have still got the very nice looking headlight and very minimal flare. Like, it's there, but it's very minimal. Just a nice little touch, like a little garnish on a steak. You know, like it's there. You know, you're not gonna eat it. Maybe you do eat garnish. I don't know. You do you. But I don't know. Maybe you get what I mean. Number boards are in, so we'll pop those on. Of course, them some bitches look very nice as well. It's like you can see the actual bulb behind the plate. Very spicy. Very spicy. What else do we have here? Let's see. The beacon light is M. Blink, blink, blink. Now you can see it. But you can also tell that it illuminates inside, sadly. So I will not be running with that. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure beacons bled into the cab a little. You know, but I don't know if there's anything can be done with that model-wise with not getting it to blink inside the cab. But, that's that. So the class lights should be C on the keyboard. There it is. So they are set to red, and then you change them with U and shift U. No U. There we go. Ooh, we got blue. Blue. I don't know, BN did blue. Did BN even use these? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they did back in the day. Way back in the day. And I think that's pretty much everything we can look at outside. Of course, the rears, you know, work the same way. Rear heads, rear numbers. Let's go ahead and hop in this mamma jamma. Let's get her forward. Get that independent on. We are on a 0.8 up Gradier right now. Alright, so what do we got down here? Is there sander, bell, gauge lights? Here's front headlights, rear heads. On the back wall, you've got your number boards. Class lights, platform lights. Hear the radio going there. Always like that. Little minimal thing. Like, it's not the same crap over and over really close together. That's when radios get irritating. Got your cab light, of course. Looks like there's a little touch of some weirdness going on with the texture on the side of the gosh, I can't zoom in anymore. You can't really notice it, but it's there. Little texture issue. There's our wipers, the beacon light, so you can see how bright that son of a gun is inside. I'll turn that back off. Let's see what else we got here. Pretty much that's it. Doors and windows open, but let's go ahead and get this son of a gun on the move. Give her a couple notches, let her warm up. I didn't hear any air release, but I think these are weird. Sometimes when you first release the air, you don't hear it, but if you drop it and then charge up again, you should hear it. Let's see. Yeah, you can kind of hear it then. Oh, she's fighting me. Come on, girl. There we go. Of course, the exhaust effect, one of the best looking exhaust effects as far as any diesels for North American Train Sim stuff. I'd say right up there with Searchlight. Absolutely, it is very, very nice looking. Can open the windows. Of course, this one has the McDonald's drive-through window. These are all your different views. Open the door. Should be able to get the back one as well. And then let's see if we can stick her head out. Ah, so you can. So they altered the head out cam enough that it gives room, for the window. Son of a motherless goat. Sorry. Apologies. Apologies, folks. All right, let's keep going here. Give her another one. Yeah, it doesn't seem like too much has changed as far as operation. These things, still feel very nice. Power-wise, they're not overpowered at all. The brakes take a minute. Hell, even the independent brake, if you're running this thing light engine, the independent brake takes a little bit. It's not immediate. So physics-wise, these things feel pretty good as well. We'll try the wipers out. I like the little dirtiness box on the window there, the outline of the wipers. But I believe that should be about it. Another C424, of course, in the SP&S and Burlington Northern liveries. Still good. They have got their appropriate, what would seem horns, and all the other little bits that these would have had, because they did change railroad to railroad, and I don't want to say model to model, but DLC to DLC. So it's not like they're repaints. Like I said, I'll try and link that other video I did showing off the differences between all of them. So it's not air quotes just a repaint. I'm really looking forward to what the GP9 is going to be like from Diesel Workshop, because they are working on the early GP series. But I get the feeling it's going to be another one of those things like this, where it's just going to be multiple liveries. So at least with like the RS3s and these C424s, I hope they do a bundle pack, so you can maybe save a few bucks if you don't have any of these yet, and just get them all instead of picking and choosing which ones you want. Of course, that option's there if you always want it as well. But that is it, guys. Burlington Northern and Spokane Portland and Seattle Railway Alco C424s. Hope you found the video informative and not too dingus, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys. Bye.